In the last few days, the internet has been abuzz about Chris Tyson, an internet personality whose claim to fame was being close to Mr. Beast. Chris has most notably been in the spotlight for coming out as transgender back in 2023. Recently, videos have been going viral on YouTube talking about allegations that Chris was inappropriately talking to a minor. Today, we're going to get to the bottom of these allegations and see what's really going on here. To do this, we're not just going to look at the other commentary videos, we're going to go straight to the source that they're all quoting. The nexus point for the allegations that Chris Tyson sexually abused a minor.
So disclaimer, I do not know every single thing that happened behind the scenes. I do not know if when they met up, if he was molested or if he acted inappropriately towards him. I do not know these things.
Wait, what the fuck? So I saw a lot of people were confused about what exactly the Chris allegations were, and rightfully so. There was a shit ton of clickbait going around. She was 10, she was 14, he was 14, he was 13, she was 6. Now, I'm gonna be the first to tell you right now, thankfully, all of those are clickbait. There were no children harmed by Chris Tyson as far as we know. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to make this video. It literally pulled me out of commentary retirement, because I think something very bad happened here. Let me explain. There are two main pieces to the Chris allegations right now. One of them is completely valid. The other one is complete honky-tonk bullshit. And not just honky-tonk bullshit, but honky-tonk bullshit that was released by a schizo named after a penis disorder who was working with a known pedo. None of that is an exaggeration. Now let's start with the valid allegations. These allegations being that Chris Tyson has publicly admitted to being into lolly, which if you don't know, is a sub I can't even fucking say it. It's a category of drawn porn, with the emphasis being on prepubescent individuals. The evidence for this has been posted by Chris Tyson themselves on their own Twitter page back in the day. And a lot of this involves a person named Shadman, which I'm sadly going to have to give you a little background on because it's that important to the story. Shadman, or Shadbase, was a Swiss artist and content creator. He tried to go to art school, but once they saw his portfolio, which included lolly, he was kicked out and deemed a menace to society. Later, he became popular on Newgrounds, and slowly he just kept growing in popularity for his artwork. In 2016, he really started to lean into the lolly shit, openly saying that he loved lolly and wanted to draw more of it. He's done other degenerate pieces, like when the YouTuber Edsworld died, drawing him being brutally R-worded by the Grim Reaper. He's also drawn porn of his own mother, and over time his lolly artwork moved from fictional characters to actual real-life children. These real-life individuals included Lieutenant Corbus, an 11-year-old YouTuber who became pretty popular in the commentary community back in the day, as well as Keemstar's 8-year-old daughter. He also started drawing child actors, such as Millie Bobby Brown, Emma Watson in her child role in Harry Potter, and the one that caught the attention of the media, his explicit drawings of Daphne Keane, the 12-year-old actress for X-23, one of the main characters in the film Logan. Those drawings caught the attention of the owner of Kiwi Farms, who then reported it to Daphne's talent agency. Shadbase's website was shut down after this, but to this day he's still out there being a degenerate, apparently living in LA, addicted to heroin, and getting arrested for assaulting people with deadly weapons. Classy. Now how does all this tie into Chris Tyson? Back during the peak of Shadman's popularity, Chris Tyson was openly replying to Shadman on Twitter, liking his artwork, making inside jokes about his artwork, and even purchased art from Shadman, which can be seen hanging on a wall in older videos. This alone should be enough to cancel Chris Tyson, because none of the stuff I've brought up so far is defendable at all. Show any normal person this, and they'd agree with you. If they don't, you might want to check their hard drives. One of the conversations I saw going around about these allegations were if Chris actually commissioned the artwork or just purchased it, which I don't really think that distinction matters here, for you see, if you pay money for it, or are just jorking it for free, this does not change the morality of what you are doing. And in either case, Chris either purchased the work, which clearly depicts someone who's underdeveloped, or they specifically asked for this underdeveloped character to be drawn for them. Either way, it's bad. Now like I said, Chris Tyson being into lolly is bad, and we have the evidence to prove this is true. Another shitty thing we have evidence for is Chris making a video about Jeanette McCurdy getting revenge porn leaked of her and apparently linking to it in the description of the video.
How's it going, you guys? So recently everybody's been hearing about the Jeanette McCurdy leak of her photo. What the story is, she sent pictures to her boyfriend, her now ex-boyfriend, and he leaked them out. But the link's in the description if you want to see them. I mean, I'm not endorsing people to go look at somebody else's private business, but I know that you know, people might want to see them, so it's there if you want it.
Now, I've gone over all the evidence for why I think Chris Tyson needs to be booted from the internet. So where do all these thumbnails come from talking about 6-year-olds and 10-year-olds and 14-year-olds and a bunch of other fucking numbers? These are all clickbait talking about certain characters that Chris Tyson has inappropriately commented on. For instance, this video that blew up has 14 in the thumbnail, and the character they're referring to is Violet from The Incredibles, not an actual girl. I think we can all agree, finding a character who's 14 years old and drawn like a fucking cereal box attractive is pretty fucked up. But in this case, there's no actual child being harmed, which is great news. Now that I've gone over these allegations and explained why this is enough to get Chris canceled, it's time to move on to the other set of allegations. And I'm not joking, you gotta sit down for this one. It's gonna be a wild ride. The other accusations revolve around Chris Tyson's interactions with someone who they started talking to when they were around 14 years old. The accusations include inappropriately talking to this kid when Chris was 20, offering to send nudes to this child, and even meeting him alone in the woods. I started seeing the accusations of Chris being a PDF file all over Twitter. When I was trying to actually find any evidence of this, it was quite lacking. Nothing of actual substance when I first saw this stuff dropping. So I was wondering if it was so set in stone that Chris was a pedo, where was the evidence? I went to YouTube to try to figure it out, and I was immediately greeted with videos of people talking about the original evidence. Evidence that was gathered by a small no-name YouTube channel called Prism42.
Chris Tyson reached out to this guy when he was 13 years old. The problem with that is that there's a 7-year age gap.
And as I looked into this guy's channel,
your last photo is how you die. How do you die? Garfield etchy. Garfield etchy.
It became very apparent to me. This entire narrative was absolute bullshit. Let me explain why. I'll also be using his videos as evidence for why he's talking straight out of his ass. Looking into Prism42's YouTube channel, he doesn't have a lot of content, but the content he does have says something about him. He's an absolute schizo.
How can I make a girl fall in love with me? First, you have to abduct her. You have to make her live in your house for a while. Then she gets Stockholm Syndrome. How do I respond to being ignored? Very simple. You cut yourself. Then you post the pictures on Instagram.
His username is priapism, which is a disorder where your PP refuses to calm down. From his own videos, I've learned he's been working on this for over 6 months.
I'm doing this it started out as me wanting to do the right thing and get this information out there after I saw something on a 4chan post. I looked into this much further and I found that this content figure committed a crime against a child. This person should not be around children, but is around children. Somebody had to do something about it, and it seems like I'm the only person that actually cares. So I'll do something about it, and I have been doing stuff about it.
And apparently he tried to contact Chris Chan, of all people, to help him with the investigation into Chris Tyson.
I briefly spoke to Chris Chan. I saw Chris Chan's mom, and I saw Chris Chan at the courthouse.
Actually him, right there.
I briefly spoke with Chris Chan, gave him my contact information. His lawyer or his attorney or whatever got in my way though, so that was, can't have Chris Chan cover it if, could hardly even speak to him. He didn't reach out to me again after that.
I cannot get into Chris Chan right now, but I will summarize. Absolutely insane individual who went to prison for having sex with his dementia-ridden mother, and this is the person that Prism decided to reach out to try to help him with this story on Chris Tyson. But it gets even better. The next person Prism decided to try to work with was EDP445, a known PDF file.
If I have to have EDP assist me with this, if I have to be the bad guy, if I have to do shit that doesn't make any sense, that makes me the villain, just so I can bring attention to this, then by all means, I'll do so. That is why I'm going to be doing some shit that may seem nonsensical, doesn't make any sense. Heck, the people that I've told to about this situation, they already think I'm crazy for some reason. They go, "Oh man, you're crazy, man. Oh no, you're lying. No, you're lying. That's not true." The main thing that I'm trying to say about this is I will continue to have EDP assist me in this and to try to seek out people like Chris Chan or any other commentary YouTuber or any of these other online figures, because frankly, no one is assisting me with this. But I'm not going to be politely asking anymore. I'm going to start, ruffling people's feathers, if that makes any sense. And that's a very nice way of putting it.
He was apparently successful in this effort, posting videos that are allegedly directly from EDP445 to him on his own channel.
Holy shit, man. So my motherfucking main nigga, Chris Tyson, supports child porn. He's into that freak ass shit. That nasty ass, disgusting motherfucking shit, man. And see, we gotta protect our youth. We gotta protect our kids and our goddaughters and our nephews and our nieces and our cousins.
6 months ago, he also got onto Gideon's stream and said he was going to confess his sins that he had not yet committed.
What's
Word,
good?
Gideon.
Pripism? How do you say your name, man?
Yeah, you can just say it like priapism. And if anything, I would like to just confess my sins, if that's all right.
If you feel comfortable. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not the sins that I have not committed already, but the sins I will commit. And I just want people to understand my side, my perspective of why I feel like I have to do the things I have to do.
Growing up a Christian boy, I can say I'm pretty versed in the Bible. Pun intended. You can't repent for sins and confess them before you commit them. That's not how that works. First off, what were these sins that he was confessing to?
It's not a sin to expose wrongdoing.
Is it a sin to threaten other people's livelihoods?
No,
Is
the Bible
is it a sin to bear false
livelihoods all
witness?
the time.
I'm not lying about the... Yeah,
So looking into this twice now, I've already found where this guy has said, hey, I'm going to be lying about something to expose a predator. And one of them, he literally says, this person, this content creator, this content figure has harmed a child.
I looked into this much further, and I found that this content figure committed a crime against a child.
That's a pretty bold claim to be making. But this was before the video actually came out. This was like 6 months before. Let's watch through and let's see what evidence he has.
So disclaimer, I do not know every single thing that happened behind the scenes. I do not know if when they met up, if he was molested or if he acted inappropriately towards him. I do not know these things. What I do know is what I can prove using the evidence I discovered, and the circumstances surrounding all of this as well are very suspicious, but there's something that I can show that is illegal. It's disgusting. It's something that you should never be talking about with a 13-year-old, 14-year-old.
Alright, so we're already coming out of the gate strong. No evidence that a child was actually harmed. Got it. That's kind of a massive footnote. Why did everyone look over that? I wake up, I open Twitter, and all I see is fucking pedo. Let's just keep playing. Let's see what evidence he has. Maybe he means like online stuff happened versus physical stuff. Let's see.
So I'm not going to say this guy's real name. I'm going to be referring to him by initials. I'm going to say BW. Chris Tyson started an online friendship with this guy when he was only 13 years old. Now the problem with that is Chris Tyson was born in July of 1996. Lava GS was born on November 12th, 2003. The problem with that is that there's a 7-year age gap. So when you started socializing with this guy online and building an online connection in some sort of friendship, and you talking to this guy, playing video games with him, socializing, he was only 13 years old. He was in middle school, and you were in college. You were 20 years old. So that's what I'm going to talk about, is why is it that someone who is in college, who is like a sophomore or junior at that point, what are you doing making friends with a middle schooler?
So this is the big claim, that Chris Tyson was friends with a 13-year-old, played video games online with a 13-year-old? Where the fuck is the pedo shit? Why didn't you lead with that? No claim of Chris Tyson, like, I don't know, sent nudes to this person, received nudes from this person, did this like, is this it? Is this what you're leading with? Is this the big thing everyone is talking about? Let's see what evidence he brings to the table here. By the way, I'm scooting around because this motherfucker is like really bad at editing. Like he doesn't know how to cut out shit, he says multiple times. Granted, not everyone's a professional video editor, but like -5 points, okay? Shit video, make a better one. Also, -5 more points. I found the exact park he was filming in. Here's a picture.
So it starts off with him saying his birthday, November 12th, 2023. I am 20 now. When do I get to retire? When this guy was really young, he won some sort of competition or was involved, and he DM'd Mr. Beast on Twitter and got sent a knife signed by Mr. Beast. He was like 12 or something. And it was a karambit signed by Mr. Beast. It was a CSGO karambit.
So basically what he's doing here is laying out evidence for how old this person is and their connections to Mr. Beast content, which started when he was 12, when he won a actual knife. Maybe not an actual one, maybe it was like a replica. Can't really tell from the picture.
On LavaGS's Twitch account, he puts under friends, Caleb, Chris. They're mainly just from Discord. This is a guy he met online. He doesn't know this guy. It was a person in college who decided to socialize and make friends with a middle schooler.
I don't know what the implication here is. Is just knowing someone who's a kid online because you make gaming content automatically equal bad?
He's in the video. I made 100 players escape an impossible maze.
Evil. Lava, Pluto, assemble!
Hi, how are you?
I need you to make this 10 times harder.
How hard do you want it, Jimmy?
Hard.
I really have no idea why he put this clip in here either. Why is this information pertinent? Jimmy had kids help out with his kids content. That's a video game that kids play. Why is this clip in here? I feel like you'd want to lead with your strongest evidence first. You could say he's still trying to set the groundwork for everything, but I know for a fact he's not. What he's doing here is trying to just stitch a bunch of stuff together to try to eventually equal some Illuminati confirmed style bullshit answer at the end.
He says, I really enjoy playing Fortnite. Would you guys want to watch me stream? And LavaGS says, please stream again. And he says, thanks, Dad. You want to moderate it? And he says, I love to. Lava would have been 14 years old at that point. Why are you calling a 14-year-old dad? I don't know. It's freaking weird. I gotta point it out.
When I first heard this, I thought to myself, this isn't enough to claim pedo shit. But that's a little strange. Why is he calling him dad? As I was researching this, I was looking into this topic, I decided that when it was time for bed, when it was time for me to take a little nap, a little snooze, you know, the missile was eepy. I was like, you know what, fuck it. I'll throw on some random older Mr. Beast content, just like get a general vibe of how his videos were. I'm not really a Mr. Beast fan. I just haven't seen many of his videos. So I throw on a random video, one about him filling his friend's backyard with a shit ton of Orbeez. I'm watching through the video, just trying to get the general vibe, you know, just chilling. Then we get to the end and Mr. Beast starts plugging his merch. And then that's when I hear it. And that's when I realize that this is a Mr. Beast meme. They all call each other dad.
To be honest, not enough of you guys are buying my merch, so I can't afford to feed my children. So I'm gonna have to just give them some of our Orbeez. Here's your rations for the day.
Thanks, Dad.
Here's your rations for the day.
Yes. Is there not even enough for me?
There isn't enough for you. People don't buy the merch. I want to feed you, but I can't.
Where did they go to buy the merch?
ShopMrBeast.com.
This isn't good, Dad.
Well, tell them to buy some merch so I can feed you.
I think it's safe to say this entire dad thing is debunked, okay? This is just the most innocuous point I've heard so far, and it's the first point I heard so far, so we're not doing very good. My man needs to, like, pull out something actually of substance. We're almost 7 minutes in so far, and there is no there.
So at this point, Lava is 15, and you have Chris Tyson, who is playing with this guy online on Uno. LavaGS says, this is pretty accurate. Me and Mangled Pickled can confirm. And he says, it makes me happy, lol. So, I'm not really sure why he's deciding to play a card game with someone so young. He would have been 22, 23 years old at that point.
Dear God, they played Uno. This is exactly what I'm talking about. What is going on? Why? What? So far, public tweets using common Mr. Beast lingo and more public tweets about them playing Uno. How is this evidence? Why did anyone run with this? After this, he literally just shows a tweet, literally mundane tweet of them responding to each other publicly on Twitter, and is like, yeah guys, that's really weird, you know, publicly talking to a 13-year-old.
Now this is the part where I get concerned. This guy that you talk to online, you've been socializing with, you've been playing video games with, he's asking you, Chris, does she know about your hentai addiction? And that's the thing, is this guy, at this point, he would have been 14 years old. This guy is asking you these questions, and you were talking to him when he was super young. How does he know this? I don't know.
Why did this guy lead with Uno and the Kool-Aid Man? I really do not know. I don't even think this is a good one to point to because it could have very well been like a joke on the Mr. Beast channel that Chris was a gooner or something, okay? They literally, like, this one video I watched, same Orbeez video, there's some kind of inside joke about, like, hand lotion. I'm gonna guess that has something to do with jerking off because, you know, it's fucking Chris. Personally, on the internet, I treat minors like second-class citizens because if there's one thing I know, it's that you are less than because you are a child. So no, I will not be treating you like an fucking equal. I will not be joking with you the same way. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to interact with you at all. It's the internet. There's kids on here. I don't make my stuff explicitly 18 plus, so yeah, sometimes some kids make their way in. And yeah, sometimes I make an edgy joke. I don't think that's the end of the world. So far, what priapism has shown is absolutely nothing that anyone should care about. We're almost a fourth of the way through the video.
I just want to say that this is probably the worst part of all this. Well, I mean, other than the fact that he brought a camper van to meet up with you, that's also really bad.
What the fuck? Wait, okay. So first you're like, yeah, this stuff is like the worst I've seen so far. Well, actually, the part about him meeting you in the woods in a camper. Why didn't you lead with that? I want to hear about that. Where the fuck is that at?
You post something that says, guys, we are so close to our goal. Oh my God, one more Patreon and I'm releasing my nudes. And of course, this is some poorly made joke. I've seen these kinds of jokes online before where it says, oh, if this post gets 1 like, I'll kill myself. And then the person likes it. It says a goal of $3. I want to see if anyone is dumb enough to give me money. Lava says, I'm your first Patreon big boy. He shows that he donated some money. He donated like $1 or something. So it's not enough to meet the goal. And he says, but not $5. Pathetic, just kidding, kissy face. Now, granted, you could say that this is a joke or whatever, this is bro talk, but keep in mind, this is with someone who's like 14. It continues. He says, check again, and of course he says, I posted some fire nudes for you, please no share. And this is someone that you're talking to that is 14 years old.
We are almost 15 minutes into this video, and this is the first inappropriate conversation this guy has shown so far. Something we need to note here is that this is obviously jokes. I don't believe any nudes were sent to this 15, 14-year-old. However, that's not important. This conversation is inappropriate to have with someone who's 14. But again, I heard something about a camper in the fucking woods. I want to hear more about that. Priapism brings up a couple other public messages between Lava and Chris. Some of them were Lava saying thanks, Dad, and stuff like that. I already explained why I don't think that one means much of anything. In a public Discord chat, Chris makes a I'm gonna fuck your mom joke. I'm gonna be real, I think that one's inbounds. Keep in mind, we've already seen all of this lolly shit. That is plenty enough to say Chris is a freaking weirdo. You have inappropriate jokes directed at minors. I don't know where he shows this, but there's another one showing Chris has kids added on Snapchat, and another inappropriate joke. A snap that just says coming for America. Some people were trying to say this was actually a Snap story, which means it's public to anybody on Snap because it has a date code. I'm pretty sure that's incorrect, because if it was a public Snap story, you would have a little bell in the corner as well as saved snaps in chat have date codes. I'm not going to show you, just believe me on this one, okay? This was probably a snap sent to a child. Inappropriate. That should be plenty enough to say, yeah, maybe this person shouldn't have a career that involves anything around kids. But let's figure out what this camper in the woods shit is, because that sounds way more important than any of this.
Again, I have no idea if anything happened to this guy physically. I can only show that they're talking about inappropriate topics with each other. I can show that there is a vast age difference, that he should not have been socializing with this guy in the first place, but he did. Like, the moment he was able to meet up with him, he met up with him in person, which I think is highly inappropriate since he was talking to this guy since he was 13, and he's also attracted to men, and the guy's a guy.
So priapism brings up that they met in person, but he has no evidence anything bad happened to this person. He also uses the fact that Chris was openly bi at the time as part of his evidence. Now from here, he brings up messages from Carl's Discord server. Carl, if you don't know, is the one who's lacking in the chin department.
He said, I drove from West Virginia to North Carolina. I'm sitting in a camper in the woods right now. I love Carl though. So Carl is amazing, and that is a fact. True, he hugged me before Chris managed to.
So at this point, we can imply that Chris and Carl have both met this Lava person, and that both of them have hugged Lava. Nothing else. That's it. That's all we know. Also, I don't know how Carl's not catching strays, because like this 16-year-old's like low-key simping for him. Like if half the shit he showed earlier was supposed to be evidence, what about this?
Because winky face. Carl simps for me. Who doesn't simp for Carl? I think we all simp for Carl. I know, right, Teehee? Offering to buy me ice cream if I do stuff for him.
Carl? Why is this evidence in a Chris video? Carl is offering to give you ice cream to do things? This is probably the worst thing I've heard so far. Why is Priapism looking at Carl's Discord server at messages that are directed at Carl as evidence against Chris? I'm mega lost here. Also, I need to point out, he brings up these winky face thing between these two people. Both of these people are 16. They say it like 2 seconds later.
Wait, who is older, Lava or Boy Jedi? You're both 16, right? I'm 16. At Carl, see you Tuesday, baby girl. I'm in a camper on a hotspot. Imagine being in the woods. Imagine simping over Carl.
Why are these messages that are directed at Carl being used as evidence against Chris? Well, the reason why is because both Chris and Carl, and it turns out the entire Mr. Beast gang, all met Lava at this point.
Here is the picture of them meeting up together. I'm gonna censor his face.
Okay, this fucking retard left his name unblurred in these screenshots. What the fuck? Great job protecting the victim, my dude.
And as you can see right there, there's Carl right there. There's Chris Tyson right there. Chris Tyson was talking to this guy since he was 13. Chris Tyson was in college. And of course, the moment he was able to drive, he takes a camper van out in the middle of the woods, which, by the way, very secluded area. He was talking to Chris Tyson, who is interested in both men and women since he was 13 years old, and Chris Tyson was in college. Why did he take a camper van out to see him and take it out in the middle of the woods in this secluded area?
So we have finally made it to the crux of this guy's entire argument for why Chris Tyson is a pedo. Priapism is claiming that Chris went and met this person out in the woods, even though right there in the messages and in the Instagram post, he did not meet Chris alone. You have at least 3 people in that photo. He doesn't even know if Lava drove this camper there by himself. He's just assuming that. Since he does a piss poor job explaining exactly what this timeline here is of these messages, let me recap. 2 minors, Jedi and Lava, both 16, are talking about the fact that Lava is going to visit North Carolina in a camper. The presumed purpose of this is to meet the Mr. Beast gang. Jedi is making jokes about how he wishes he could be there, presumably because he wants to meet them too. But why is Chris the only person anyone's talking about here when this guy's actively like directing this towards Carl? I believe the reason why is because it is completely done in bad faith. Priapism is trying to stitch a narrative together of inappropriate interactions between Lava and Chris with the fact that Lava has met Chris before and all the Chris lolly stuff to try to imply that Chris hurt this child. Even though, guess what? Priapism mentions interviewing Lava. Let's see what he has to say.
When you're talking about an inappropriate topic with someone who you know is 14 years old and you meet up in person, it all looks very suspicious. And that is why when we interviewed him, we were trying to ask if he had been molested or if someone had talked inappropriately to him, because we genuinely believe that something might have happened to him, although he claims nothing happened.
So Lava has actually spoken about this interview. He left a reply on the video that Priapism deleted, stating that the interview was under false pretense as a video editing job. Priapism later admitted to this on stream.
He did think that we were having him edit for us, and that, you know, that's why he was telling us all this. Like he
wait,
was,
so
he
you
was
wait a second.
fine.
So you tricked him into a conversation.
So you fucking baited them. You
Snaggle,
he was fine. He was fine with us. Okay, he didn't know why we were interviewing him. Basically, like the reason he knew. He said we didn't have to worry about recording around him.
Baiting someone into a conversation, and then now you're getting them coming out saying this video is totally wrong. You understand? This very much undermines the case that you're trying to make.
Have you ever heard of James O'Keefe and Project Veritas?
Right. I mean, yeah, James O'Keefe is not like the person you should necessarily look as an avatar of success with this stuff.
No,
some of his investigations are riddled with issues.
Met him.
I feel like what you've done is you've got someone that you look up to in James O'Keefe, and you've tried to imitate them. And James O'Keefe isn't perfect, but, you know, you've done it in a very shitty way, so now there's problems with what you've done.
He even says in his own video that his own friends didn't think he should talk about this part, presumably because there's not really any evidence here. This is all speculation.
You don't deserve this. You didn't do anything wrong. And that's the part that concerns not only me, but also Vertius. He doesn't want to talk about you at all. I'm going to say this. Vertius does not want to talk about you at all because he doesn't want to bring up someone that isn't, that is going to be very upset by this. He doesn't want to upset you because we don't know what, generally, we don't know what happened to you.
Lava later came out publicly and said that nothing between him or Chris ever happened, and the only times they ever met, not only was the entire Mr. Beast crew there, but his parents were present the entire time. And the way that Priapism decided to try to frame the whole camper thingy is super fucking scummy and bad faith. I started this video by bringing up all the allegations that I feel are valid, actual criticisms of Chris Tyson that warrant them being removed from the internet and any kind of Mr. Beast content. But you might be wondering, why am I focusing so hard specifically on this baseless claim? The reason I'm focusing so much on this is because bad accusations lead to bad people getting away with things. I think Chris Tyson needs to be booted for all the stuff I mentioned before this prison video I just went over. But mixing in these bad accusations that have no evidence behind them could cause people to throw out the baby with the bathwater. First off, a lot of people saw pedo and kind of just ran with it, even though there's no evidence. When the supposed victim, who doesn't even see themselves as a victim, came out and said nothing bad ever happened between them and Chris, plenty of people just threw it out altogether. Chris Tyson responded to all this finally, putting out an apology on Twitter. I would like to apologize for any of my past behavior or comments if it hurt or offended anyone. It was not my intent. Seeing recent events, we've mutually decided it's best I permanently step away from all things Mr. Beast and social media to focus on my family and mental health. This should have been where Chris's statements ended, but because of this bad reporting, they were able to sort of defend themselves in the replies. I want to add, I never groomed anyone. The person who gets brought up in these accusations, LavaGS, has vocally supported that they are false. Having said that, I humbly apologize to anyone I have hurt with my unacceptable social media posts, past actions, and to those who may feel betrayed by how I used to act online. To lump these two factors together to create a narrative that my behavior extended beyond bad edgy jokes is disgusting and did not happen. In past years, I have learned that my old humor is not acceptable. I cannot change who I was, but I can continue to work on myself. I don't want these accusations to impact the hundreds of people who work at Mr. Beast, which is why I've stepped away. Note the only things that Chris is talking about here all relate to the weaker allegations around inappropriate messages to minors and completely denying the grooming accusations, using lava as evidence. All the shit we could have left on the cutting room floor, and we still would have had enough to cancel Chris Tyson over, but now these baseless claims are being used as a defense. There is another timeline out there where these bad accusations were the end of it. Chris using them to obfuscate all the actual bad stuff that happened. That is why we need to be careful with what we report. We need to make sure we are being factually based. We should probably double check the research of schizos named after penis disorders before we run with the story. But that being said, Mr. Beast has responded, saying he's cutting all ties with Chris Tyson and is launching a third-party investigation into everything that happened. So hopefully, Mr. Beast will be able to get to the bottom of it and it doesn't end up backfiring on us because some bad grooming allegations were put out by some Florida man. Anyways, tell me what you guys think in the comments. Let me know if there's anything else you want me to talk about, and make sure to double check your research before you make a video. Have a good night.